Hello and welcome to the campaign of The Tale of Two Brothers. Before we start and get to the really rowdy noises and the start, of the campaign, I'm going to introduce the three characters. We have Heph, played by Reegan, Lilianna, played by Cassandra, and Misha, played by Carissa. And now, all three will tell you, separately, a little bit about their character. First, we're going to start with Heph.
I need to get this rehearsed.
No, you don't need it to be rehearsed. We've already started recording, so let's start from the beginning. Tell me, who is Heph?
Heph is he's a human artificer. That's who he is.
Alright, where does Heph come from?
He doesn't know. Like, the last thing he remembers was waking up in a fisherman's hut. And, when he woke up, he asked all the generic questions like, who are you guys? What's going on? Wait, who am I? And he was panicked at first. And they eventually got him to calm down, and they told him that he was found washed up on the beach over, a chest and they, gave the chest to him. And on the chest was embroidered Heph and a family crest. And he figured that's what his name was, Heph. His family crest as well, he searched through the libraries and stuff and all the old family crests and all the new family crests, but he couldn't find his family crest. So he gave up on that idea. That was the first thing he did, but that had no avail to his search. And
Also, some other person's chest that just washed up.
yeah. It was probably his chest. There were glasses in that matched his, it worked for him. They matched his eyes, it worked. He assumed that it must have been his. And from then on, he didn't know what to do from then on. But then he heard the fisherman reading the story of the two brothers. And he recognized it.
The Tale of Two Brothers.
The Tale of Two Brothers, yeah. He recognized it. He didn't know from where, he just knew he recognized it. And he started going on about that. He's like, I always wanted to go to Andromeda. And then the fisherman tells him, you're on Andromeda. He's like, I am? And so that's when he finally figured out, he must be here for a reason. So instead of going out and figuring out who he was, he decided to follow
his gut
feeling and go along the continent and search for why he was here, because it had to do something with the book. And so from then on, he opened the chest, and inside was a bunch of gold and stuff that he could sell for lots of money, as well as he knew it was a crystal matrix. He didn't know how he knew what it was, but it was a crystal matrix for a robot. And another thing that was inside of the chest was blueprints for a combat robot that he hadn't made yet, but he was planning on making in the future. He doesn't know how he knows all these things, but he sells all the gold and gets the materials and buys the materials and builds the robot. And this takes him about 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
And he eventually, once he finishes the robot, he gets his gear together and he sets off into Andromeda. And I don't know, he was probably going to the main capital of Andromeda, Polaris, when he got sidetracked and saw this magical floating paper arrow and followed that. And the rest is history.
Wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, I gotta record this so I can add it to our podcast.
Oh, okay.
Used with quotations.
Quotations!
Yeah. So, who is Lily? Where did she come from?
Lily was born in Fornax. She had a elven father and a human mother, I think. I might have gotten that backwards. Oh well, close enough.
So she's a half-elf.
Half-elf, yes. And she her mother was never around. She was raised by her elven father, but in a more dwarven society, in Fornax, working in the mines. But she was always terrified of the dark. So she never wanted to go in the mines. So she basically did the only thing she could to get away from it. She became a healer. She learned support magic and healing magic from the other healers around the mines and basically learned everything she knew from them. Then one day there was an accident in the mines and he died, and the healers did take her in for a while, but she kind of didn't belong. She felt like she didn't have a home anymore, so she left to kind of find a new home.
Okay. So, tell me a bit about Misha.
Okay, so Misha Nikolov, he's 1,700 years old, meaning roughly 17 years in human. He is a wood elf. Do you need character description?
Nah, leave it to the imagination. Let me tell about Misha's background.
Okay, so Misha was dropped off at I believe it's called a monastery. So he was an orphan, and the monks raised him, but because monks are close with the people in the village, he would always visit, and him being a knowledge, seeker, he would always go into the library, where he was quote-unquote adopted by the library owners. And so he would, whenever they went to the village, he'd go and help them out, or he was always in the library. After the humans who owned the library passed away, he took over, as well as still being a monk. And one day, a couple hundred years later, the entire village that he had grown up in got burnt, including the library. And the only thing he has to remember the library is one book that he keeps in his book bag.
Did Misha stick around, or,
So Misha left the village, and because he's not a fighter, he wasn't seeking vengeance after the people who attacked it, but he's wondering why. He wants the knowledge behind it, because one night the village just went up in flames and there was no reason for it.
Okay, so he's now just sort of like a wanderer.
Yes.
Alright.
Thank you for listening to the character setup. We will hopefully have the very first episode of The Tale of Two Brothers ready pretty soon, I'm hoping. And sorry for the continuously changing audio. I am recording in multiple different places and multiple different times using multiple different recording tools. But anyway, hopefully I'll have things set up better and quality will be much better. Hoping, praying. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye!